This is the final project of the subject of Automatization 1, for which we have made the decision to carry out a water bottling plant, whose final and even long-term goal is to function as a supplier of water bottles, FIUAQ, by the Faculty of Engineering. The reason for this project is to make a machine capable of providing bottles with water of FIUAQ brand, with the aim of offering an economical product that can also provide resources of the same type to the university and work together with the Faculty of Chemistry for its purification. One of the main problems to solve is to increase the production of FIUAQ packaging through the use of automatization, in order to have the ability to make it more commercial and be able to compete with other competitors of water packaging. In order to comply with some requirements on the part of automatization, it was decided to perform the automatization of the machine completely analogically, that is, without the use of microcontrollers. It is worth mentioning that the machine is still in process, and, for this reason, only the process will be shown whose function is simply to take care of filling the bottles. This machine has a fairly simple method of operation and consists of 4 stages that are connected to each other. In the first instance, there is the conveyor belt, whose function is to move the bottle above itself, to take it to the filling process. All this with the help of a frequency inverter, and its activation by means of a plate timer, that is responsible for sending a 24 volts output to the frequency converter while it is needed to work. Secondly, there is the sensor, in this case 2 CNY70 sensors, whose function is to detect the bottle in an exact location. For this case, it is just below the piston, that is responsible for providing water to said bottle. It should be mentioned that the handling of these sensors is through an AND logic gate that helps with the activation of other timer circuits. Third, we find the water pump, which works by means of a piston that is responsible for sucking water, and then pumping it uphill towards a smaller piston that is responsible for making the decision to open or close the supply of the same. It is important to mention that this stage works by means of 2 PCB boards type timer, activated by a third, whose function is to activate among themselves in order to maintain an automatic process. It is also important to mention that the time in the timers was calibrated. It is say it's not manufacturing default. Fourth, we find the filling piston, whose function is to prohibit or allow the flow of water through itself when it's activated by the sensor as soon as the bottle is just below. It should be mentioned that this piston, together with the elements mentioned in the previous points, are activated by 3 timer PCB boards interconnected with each other and calibrated in time according to the function to be performed. To finalize, it is necessary to emphasize that everything mentioned above is communicated to a somewhat complicated process, and that involves a lot of calibration in time given the necessary accuracy by certain elements, such as the movement and pause of the vent or the filling, for the correct operation and performance of the machine.